RTI, response to intervention, is used to locate any struggles a student is having with a skill or lesson and is not limited to finding a special need or learning disability. RTI is helpful to find what areas a student needs help in early stages so that it is less likely to become a learning disability. If it is not addressed early on, the child begins to have certain levels of difficulty in development and skills. It is important for teachers to establish a positive relationship with both the student and the families. They need to build trust with the student to show that they are invested in helping them, and with the parents, they should update and have one-on-one meetings so they know what is going on at all times.
The response to intervention model has started to shift to the center of the conversation around educational reform. RTI works as an early intervention program that is applied in classrooms for children who have had harder times keeping up. According to a peer-reviewed article written in 2012, RTI is described as a tier-based system because there are multiple levels within the program that fit to meet the children where they are until they're brought back up to speed in understanding and knowledge. To better break down the tier levels, a student who is in Tier 1 is with the whole classroom receiving general education. Children who are in Tier 2 can expect to be pulled aside to work within small groups throughout the week, but even though they may participate in small groups, they are still largely a part of the classroom's regular lessons. Children in the final stage of RTI are in Tier 3, where they will often receive either small group work or private lessons. Teachers will constantly check in with these students and test their readiness to leave Tier 3 and transition back down to Tier 2 and then lastly Tier 1.
In order for RTI to be effective in the classroom, teachers must use high-quality, evidence-based instruction for their students. This means that teachers should be considering peer-reviewed research when designing their lessons. Secondly, teachers must implement proper and effective classroom management skills. RTI will not work properly if the students in the classroom are consistently misbehaving. Lastly, teachers must use screening and monitoring devices. RTI will be more effective if teachers know which levels to place students in the beginning of the year and when it's appropriate to move them to a different level. Using an RTI model can provide a variety of benefits in the classroom. For instance, in a 2015 study, researchers found that using an RTI model can be a helpful tool for identifying early reading disabilities in kindergarten-age children. Participants in this study were all given an initial screening composed of multiple assessments at the beginning of kindergarten to determine if they were at risk for reading disabilities. After the initial screening, a portion of students who were at risk were given 30-minute interventions once a week for 26 instructional weeks, while the other portion was left alone. At the end of the intervention period, both portions of students were tested again, and the study found that the students who received interventions had significant reading improvements. Overall, this study indicates that students who received screening and supplemental instruction improved their reading skills by the end of the year.
The benefits to RTI is to provide social, emotional, and literacy experiences for children who lack in those areas and the skills to prevent special education services. When a child is in a positive quality environment at home and at school, it can protect them from negative impacts of environment lacking social, language, and cognitive components. A positive environment can include, but is not limited to, providing love and emotional support. It is important for teachers to be provided with extensive knowledge and criteria given by administrators and researchers in order to test the effectiveness when testing the students to better their education growth. The support and resources can be workshops or informational packets that teachers go through step by step with researchers to evaluate more clear instruction.
In an experiment to measure the effectiveness of RTI, researchers used a screening to see if kindergarten students were at risk for struggling in reading and writing before the beginning of the school year. The kids whose tests indicated they were at risk for struggling were placed in an RTI program called KidSkills. KidSkills exemplifies an RTI model because it incorporates collaborative instruction, and data-based decision-making to meet the needs of all students. KidSkills also has a small group format and allows for personal intervention. After a year of RTI, all of the students in KidSkills improved in their reading and writing. Originally, about half of the students were at risk for struggling in reading and writing. By the end of the year, the entire class was reading at or above grade level, showing that the KidSkills was effective. When used correctly, RTI is very effective at identifying children's weaknesses at a young age and preventing students from getting too far behind. RTI can also prevent children being placed in special education for a learning disability. In the early grades, students are screened to see what subject areas they have trouble with. Then the students are placed in an intervention program that uses high-quality, evidence-based instruction. The students are also assessed frequently in order to make sure they are placed in the right tier or level of the program. In order for RTI to have maximum benefit, the educators need to establish a trusting relationship with the students and their families. Overall, RTI is a great way of locating students' weaknesses in the early stages and preventing them from falling too far behind later in their education.